Hey everyone, Ghost of Yotei is officially here. I am absolutely loving it. This has just been one of my most hype excited games, and I'm so glad to finally be in. I'm about 35 hours in. I've really not even done that much. I have taken out like one of the main targets. But otherwise I'm just kind of exploring and stuff like that. So this video is not going to be heavy on spoilers, but I will say I feel like this game really is best to go in totally fresh, knowing nothing, seeing nothing. But again, there won't be any major spoilers. Just starting from like the very first thing that you decide to do in the game, which is select your difficulty. I will tell you what I'm playing on because I think it's like one of the best ways to play. So I have mostly everything set on lethal except for the parry timing window. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit too unforgiving and makes me feel like I'm playing like Elden Ring. And I don't really want that out of a game where I'm trying to feel like a badass shinobi. Makes fights feel intense, but also like there's a little bit of room for feeling like a badass. And getting right into the game itself, let's talk about the photo mode. So I'm a little split on how I feel about it. And the reason for that is it's the exact same from Tsushima. On the one hand, it's still one of the best photo modes ever. Especially for me, because as you know, if you've seen my other videos, I really don't care about external lighting, stuff like that. So the time of day slider and the weather changing, that's perfectly enough for me to achieve the vision of the shot I want. But on the other hand, it is surprising that a studio that clearly cares so much about photo modes just let this one be the exact same. I don't know, I felt like they would try and elevate it again with more camera range or adding different character poses or trying something experimental. I always appreciate how Lords of the Fallen did that really interesting 3D photo mode where you could basically save a location and then come back into it from the main menu. Even Assassin's Creed Shadows had poses for your character, so it's a little odd to see that the photo mode has not been touched. But all the things that were amazing are still amazing. But that being said, there's not much to talk about that I haven't already covered in my Tsushima video. So I just kind of want to talk about the game as a whole, what I'm liking about it, and of course we'll talk on visuals and everything like that. So yeah, let's go. The opening cinematic is so strong and it really puts you in Atsu's shoes with you painting the names of the people you're gonna hunt with the touchpad. Very meditative. The game is absolutely gorgeous, but did we expect any less? I mean, I feel like even more than Tsushima, the vistas, the scale of it, and the diversity of landscape is just incredible. Also, the music is amazing. I was a little apprehensive that the original composers were not doing this score, but there's a lot of like Western cowboy vibes. That give it this really nice fusion, and samurai and Western films often borrowed from each other, and so there is a lot of that crossover in how they feel, you know, down to like the duels holding the katanas. It has a very Western feel, but at the same time you could say Westerns have a samurai feel, so it's a lot of borrowing, and it's very fun to see that. I love Atsu, the protagonist. She is calculated, funny at times, and just a really great protagonist to be with. The story is really just razor focused on these 6 people that you are out to kill. And I just love how few targets there are. One of the things I like in this game is how each of the targets feels very built up. You just really have a sense of like, this is the mission, these are who I'm after. It's great. I love the bounty hunter system in this game. You can just pull bounties like off of these boards, and it really works to be this wandering shinobi who is both on her own mission, but, you know, Atsu's got to make some coin as well. So picking up some bounties and just going and taking people out. And these aren't just like random NPCs that you always just go up and kill and that's that. Often these bounties have little side stories within them, and it all just feels so organic. Everything about this game I always describe Ghost of Tsushima and of course Yotei is it feels so organic. Discovery is organic. The way that birds and flowers lead you to locations, it all just, it doesn't feel hand-holdy, but at the same time it doesn't feel convoluted to discover things. It's hard to describe, but it really is done well. Love the wolf mechanic. When I saw the wolf in the trailer, I was already like, okay, this is badass. Seeing the wolf in action, it coming up and joining you randomly in fights or helping you when you're about to die, is so much fun. It's so exhilarating to see that thing jump into frame. The world is so big, both in size and in mission structure. The map can often feel a little deceptively small. Like when I opened the map for the first time, I was like, huh, this feels smaller than Tsushima. Weird. But that is totally not the case. Here's a little bit of an example. You can see how I'm looking on the map here at this wolf den. And honestly, on the map, it looks like it's not that far of a distance. But then when I get out of the map and you see me looking at this location from afar, you can tell just how much land there really is to cover. And then there's also just these massive spaces where you can enjoy the scenery and just roam through it. The vistas are just unmatched. I really don't know a lot of games that compare. The views and the way that sometimes you come up on a cliff and the camera intentionally pulls back to reveal a much wider shot is just, it's so inspired. Such a great job on the art and cinematics team. I can't say enough good stuff. A little bit back on the photo mode, I will say this is one of the only games that I use filters and frames in. Not that many, but I do really love the autumn filter. I love how it kind of matches a color grading style that I do in my own personal work, where I like to shift greens into a little bit more of a fall sort of feel. And then of course the cinematic frames. A lot of games I don't do this on, but Ghost just really works. Like having that tight, very hyper thin cinematic frame sometimes just makes shots feel completely different. A few minor nitpicks, and again, this game is masterful. It is probably my game of the year. I'm having so much fun, but just a few minor things that I wish could be addressed maybe in future games. First off, I really don't like having all these weapons and then they just disappear into your inventory. I know a lot of games do this, and again, this is a nitpick, but I hate this so much because the game is so immersive and makes you feel so in the world that I exclusively play just with the katana and dual katana because I do not like weapons appearing out of nowhere. I wish they did something a little similar to Red Dead Redemption 2 where you have to retrieve certain weapons from your horse. I think that would be so much cooler. It's like if the spear and the odachi and even your instrument were actually housed on the horse and you had to choose which of these larger things to bring with you on your back. I would like that to be a thing. The last thing that I'm really bummed about, and I'm bummed that there's no good substitution, is there's no haikus. This was an absolute standout for me in Tsushima, and it literally gave me a time to actually meditate while playing that game. Like I really felt like I was centering and breathing. I thought it was one of the most amazing things ever put into a video game. I'm really bummed that nothing like that is in Yotei. And it doesn't even have to be a haiku. It actually could have been the painting activity, because in the game, the painting activity, there's no choice. There's no, there's nothing like the haiku where you are choosing what is said or what is painted. You just go to these spots and you swipe your finger around on the touchpad, which I do think is cool, but it's such a minor interactive thing. And I think it would have been so much cooler if either there was something where you choose what to paint in this environment, or you choose what objects to bring into the portrait, or even leveraging the instrument a little bit more. Like you can learn songs and play them, but that's all it is. You just open the instrument and play a song. I wish maybe there was something more like The Last of Us, where there's a real dial where you are actually choosing what notes to play, and that you yourself could craft little tunes that end up coming with you through the journey. God, I feel like that would have been so cool, so memorable. But instead, things just feel a little too scripted for my liking. I really miss the haikus. Okay, well, that's all I have to say about Yotei. I am just having such an amazing time. I don't know if I ever said this in another video, but Death Stranding 2 as a sequel kind of disappointed me. I felt the game was narratively messy. It was way easier than the first game, which was a real bummer. Like you could literally just drive a freaking truck to the top of a mountain for a delivery, and it just made some of the tools feel superfluous. So this game to me has been a much needed like breath of fresh sequel air. And yeah, till next time.